Welcome back, everybody. This is episode 4 of Lee County Unscripted, and today we are here with Jennifer Pennico. She is the Director of Sales and Plan Development for Windward Construction, and they are servicing all of Southwest Florida.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So Jennifer and I and Michael have a very long history together.
Yes, we do.
And we have worked together for many, many years, and Jennifer has now taken on the role of sales director and plan development over at Windward, which is an amazing builder. And you have taken that company to new heights and have your ideas and plans and everything are phenomenal.
Oh, thank you. Windward's definitely evolved over the years. We've been building in Southwest Florida now as Windward Construction for almost 10 years. I believe Brian has been building, personally, our owner builder has been building in Southwest Florida for almost 40 years, both underneath his dad and then on his own. He started his own development company back in 1996 and has been building ever since. So Windward has really evolved as both a company, and our processes and our systems have just gotten so much better over the years, as well as I think our floor plans and our creativity, the innovation for what people are looking for. We really try to match the home and the lifestyle with the client that's building it. One of the things that I think we're really proud of is that we've never built the same house twice.
No, you have not. You have such a unique style. And I guess that's going to lead me to another thing. You guys are doing, again, for I don't know how many years in a row, the showcase of homes that's going on all over Southwest Florida.
Yes, it's in Cape Coral exclusively for the next 3 weekends. So starting actually 2 days from now, Friday the 17th, all the way through February 2nd or 3rd. It's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 12 to 5 p.m. For the next 3 weekends. And we have a wonderful house in Cape Coral that we can't wait to show off to everybody. It is a custom build. We actually incorporated a lot of what we do out on the barrier islands of Sanibel, Captiva, Fort Myers Beach, and brought that to our hometown of Cape Coral. And it's a really spectacular house. We've got over 2,200 square feet of garage space, so I know that speaks to a lot of men out there.
Yes, that's what I need.
So 2,200 square feet of garage / we're actually incorporating an unbelievably great fitness gym area for the homeowners. And then we've got another 4,500 square feet of living above the garage. From their master suite and from their office, they can actually see the Sanibel Lighthouse. Based off of the positioning of the house. And we really built this house almost like a concrete bunker. So thinking of what could potentially happen from either a storm-related event or just longevity in the house itself, the structure itself is all concrete, from the pilings underneath to all the way up to the 3rd floor of living. It is 1,000% a concrete bunker. It's a really cool, and one of the things I love about it is it's so unique and different from some of our past homes that it has a little twist of, little modern, a little contemporary, a little nod to the Carolinas where the homeowners are from. And then you've got a little bit of industrial inside. And one of the most fun things about this entire house is we designed the rooms around their artwork. So the homeowners are collectors of art, and they have some really unique pieces. So we were very mindful in the plan development phase in the very beginning of construction, knowing what that artwork was and where it was going to go, so we could create the wall spaces that they needed.
Wow, that is literally taking into every detail.
That's the uniqueness of a custom builder, and not one that is a cookie cutter, 100%. For example. And so the Parade of Homes, this is open to anybody. The showcase of homes is open to anybody at any point in time during that time frame. They can come visit.
They can just come visit. It's a free public event. I believe there are over 30 homes in the showcase of homes this year. They're all spread out throughout the city of Cape Coral. You can always come visit us on our website, www.imaginewindward.com. We've got all the details there. Give us a call, Google us, all of that kind of good stuff. The showcase is out there. We will be posting a lot of stuff on social media. So on our Facebook page, Instagram, all of that's out there. And I'll provide all of that information to you guys as well.
And so even for like some people, for the people that can't afford a multi-million-dollar home, there's still some really good ideas that you guys have incorporated into homes that they can kind of simplify into their home. So like I agree, I would encourage people to go and take a look at all this stuff.
Yeah, and like not all builders are created equal.
Right, true.
So we always encourage people of every price point to come talk to us, because we think it's all about education. The more you know, the more you can protect yourselves, because the reality is there are maybe not so many great builders out there.
Just like realtors.
We were just talking about this.
We're not all created equal. And there's certain things that you should do, or at least look for when you're talking to a builder. There's some key things that will set you up for success, from longevity, from, like Windward always digs our footers into virgin soil. And there's a reason why we do that. We want your house to be there forever. And we also don't want your side yards to look like a mountain.
Yeah.
We don't want your driveway to, look like a steep hill.
There's no hills in Florida. Let's not make your driveway a hill.
Let's not make your driveway one. So there's always key little things that we do personally as a builder that I think are important for everybody building. But not everybody meets the Windward budget, and that's okay.
Exactly.
I'd much rather talk with you and have that opportunity to explore what you're wanting to do, and then help you decide what's best for you, and give you maybe a few tricks and maybe a few tips to make sure that you're not hurt along the way. We are very, very transparent. We're very open about our process. It is very front end loaded for us. So we discuss everything from your artwork and where that's going to go, to how you're going to live, what room sizes are, what's going in them. Are we designing a bunk room? What is it that we're trying to accomplish in this house? We do all of that on the front end. We have PowerPoint presentations. Our entire team is so well trained on capturing that information out of you without you even knowing that it's happening, so we can incorporate it into the design itself. The more we know on the front end and the more detailed we can be, the more enjoyable the build's going to be.
Yeah.
And we bid out every single project, regardless if it's the same exact house, which never is, or even a variation of one. We bid every project independently. So we bid it from the dirt all the way to the roof and everything in between. So when we sign a contract at Windward Construction, it's pretty accurate as to what the client's going to spend throughout their build.
No surprises
No
at
surprises.
the end. Yeah.
No, nobody likes surprises.
No.
Nobody.
And that's why it's hard. You can't go, like you said, every house is different. So it's not like you could say, well, this house is this much money if you want it. This house is this much money. And you can't just have a price sheet and say, here you go, here's your price, and this is what it's going to be, because it's an intimate process.
Well, not only that, in the world of what we're dealing with today, with constant
material
price increases from our vendors and supplies, and I don't care who you are as a builder, having a standard pricing sheet, you are just asking for change orders down the road.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work with what's happening today. I see it all the time. I still see, and Kim, you actually were part of Windward for a short period of time and selling for us for a little bit.
And I had a lot of fun doing it and learned.
It's a lot of fun. It's creative. It's something different every single day. And I still see some of the same stuff we were seeing 10 years ago, where people are having part of their spec sheet a $10,000 fill allowance, or gosh forbid, a $3,000 appliance allowance that actually still exists in some specification sheets today. And it's just, number one, it's not real.
Yeah.
Number two, it's not possible.
Right.
And I like it, unless you're going to go buy a Lowe's or a Home Depot appliance package, which is absolutely fine. And that's suitable for a lot of clientele, but just make sure it's meeting your expectation. Right. In most cases, it's not. I haven't built a home in, for instance, the yacht club portion of Cape Coral for less than $40,000 with their fill in the last 5 years. So going into a contract and you see a $10,000 fill allowance, that's the first line item that somebody's gonna, you need more money and you're already stuck.
Right.
So I'd much rather have those conversations on the front end.
Yeah. I mean, we talk about fill. I think maybe we've talked about this before, but like after all of our hurricanes, it depleted our fill. And that's stuff that people from elsewhere don't know and think about.
That and all the communities that are being developed here, like they're really tapping into the amount of fill that
the
was
track
available.
homes that are being built.
Yeah.
Well, it's not only is it just fill, you have to think about what's underneath the dirt that's already there.
Exactly.
Right? So there's some little known facts about it. And obviously we build outside of just Cape Coral. It just happens to be where the showcase is this weekend. Cape Coral was built based off of an idea, right? The land around Cape Coral, especially the yacht club in Southwest Cape Coral, those canals didn't exist.
Right. No.
They weren't there.
Right. That book, The Lies That Became the Truth.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And it's pretty crazy. I have some original photography from some aerial photography of while Cape Coral was being built. And what's really interesting to me, if you look at the peninsulas like Dolphin Drive, Coral Drive, Bayshore, those peninsulas in the yacht club weren't there.
No.
Right.
They were not part of the original landscape of the land of Cape Coral. They are man-made. They were built. And all of that dirt underneath it is coming from what they dug out of the soil there and
The
all
river.
the trees
Yep.
and all of that. So going into that layer of, hey, as you're doing your lot investigation and as you're finding the property that you want to build on, let's do a little testing to see what's below the surface.
Yeah.
What's there? What are we planning on building on top of that? Will what we're building will the ground support what we're trying to build? And in so many cases, our houses withstood Hurricane Ian, Hurricane Milton, all of them. They did great because we did all the proper research leading up to it. It's not about only building up higher to avoid flood. That's obviously one of the things that we want to do. But what's happening in so many of these areas is wave action, right? So what we learned from all of these storms is not only do you have to deal with the rising water, but then you've got wave action on top of that. So once it crests the seawall or anything like that, you get scouring underneath. It's that wave is no different than when you're on the beach and you watch a shell wash up and then wash all the way back out, and then you've lost it forever. The same thing is happening when you're seeing these high waters coming through. So the need for pilings on waterfront properties is becoming more and more acceptable, even if it's not required. And those are things all that we want to have an open discussion about and make sure that we are going into this as a team. And you know all of the pros, the cons. You're going to get our opinion. You'll get an expert's opinion. And then we'll just weigh what's best for you and the property and what your goals are.
And
Go ahead, Kimmy.
Sorry. And that goes back to your land, right? Like, who is helping you procure that land?
Yes.
Does that agent have the knowledge that you and your team have as agents? Because they're all licensed real estate agents as well. Does their team has the knowledge to do that? Does your agent have that knowledge?
Gosh, I hope so.
Yeah.
Well, we've seen it before
have.
where it costs clients a lot of money when their agent doesn't know what they're doing and their seawall isn't properly reinforced and it has to be raised, or you get this really not aesthetically pleasing backyard.
Well, and just like builders and just like realtors, not all seawall companies are created equal.
Yeah.
Not, like there's just things that people do. It might be acceptable via code, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's the right thing to do. Right? Sometimes you have to add common sense into it, especially when I was seeing a lot of replacements on seawalls. There are people going out there and just replacing the wall itself, but leaving the existing deadman. Or
a deadman is basically it's a cement block that goes behind the seawall and anchors the seawall to the deadman. Just so people know.
Yeah, so it's got a whole steel rebar, a metal rebar that connects both the seawall and that anchor together. And in so many cases, they weren't replacing the steel, or they were reattaching to the existing steel that's already been rusted and is already compromised.
Because those seawalls are probably from the 1960s.
50s, 60s,
Yeah,
right? So...
Well, then you add, when we had
Irma.
Hurricane Irma, that sucked all the water out of the canals, which was the first time that had, that we know of, that had happened here to that magnitude.
Right.
Like we saw a lot of seawall deficiencies.
There wasn't regulation back then.
Correct.
Right? So there are panels in the yacht club. There are panels that are 5 and 6 feet tall. There's some that are 8 feet tall. There's some in between. Some of them were barely sitting on the bank of the canal. So it matters. And then as you're looking at what's happening, especially riverfront properties in particular, the returns that are coming back on that seawall are what's holding your property there in the event of a flood-like aspect. And if your neighbor doesn't have a new seawall, or the neighbor next to the neighbor doesn't have a seawall, all of that water is going to come up eventually and make its way to your property if it's going over the seawalls. It just is. That's just nature.
Yeah.
It's science.
Yeah.
But what we want to avoid is that washout piece. So if we're talking to the clients early enough in the process, which I always encourage any realtor or client that's thinking about building, contact us during that due diligence period. Let us be a part of that.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid. You're not tied into anything. We're not going to force you to give us money. Like, this is just, we want to help you and help you make informed decisions.
Protecting the clientele, whether it's on whatever side it's
Whether
on,
you
making sure
build
they're
with me or
informed.
not.
Exactly.
Whether you build with us, I just want to help make you aware of things that maybe not everybody's telling you.
Right.
So one of the things that we work with one seawall contractor in particular, and on our larger waterfront properties, we are building the returns 10 feet back from the property line instead of, I've seen as little as 2.
Right.
I've seen as little as 3. 5 used to be their normal, but we're having them go back 10 feet. And then what I can do when we're building the house is I can do an underground retaining wall from their pool connecting to that seawall, encompassing that whole entire area behind the pool. So eliminating reducing the risk of any scouring or losing of any dirt in the event of any major storm, heck, even a heavy rainstorm.
Yeah, there's a lot of storms even storms that don't hit us anymore, that kind of skirt up our coast are now making waves here, literally causing flooding and surges here that we've never had before.
So one of the things that Windward is so proud of, and knock on wood, if luck is any part of it, I think we think ahead of all of that, and we were so fortunate. Obviously, our coast has been, I think we've had our time.
Our fair share.
We've had our fair share. We're done. We're not going to have any more, knock on wood. It's now it's in that cycle where it's going to go somewhere else.
It's sad to say that, hopefully it goes somewhere else, but then you're like,
I don't want
I feel
it to hurt
bad.
anybody else
I don't want it to
either.
hurt anybody. It's such
I don't want anybody to go through what we all went through.
No.
But the reality is it's always possible.
Yes.
The storms are getting stronger, and so we need to build stronger. And, we have a lot of builds out on Sanibel and Captiva, some right on the beach. Fort Myers Beach, all of that. And we were so blessed and so fortunate that none of them sustained any major damage. Those were built to accept the water on the lower level. And aside from a little bit of pressure washing, they were able to move back into their houses the next day.
Right.
Once they
got
access.
power.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, most of them have generators.
Yeah.
Yep. So all of that aspect of going, okay, that was really cool for me personally to go out after some of these storms and do the assessments and doing what we call safing all of the power to make sure that it was safe for them to turn their power back on, to see that the living areas looked the same exact way that they left it. The windows worked.
And they're all intact.
They're all impact, low E, insulated, which that's another little trick that builders will do. They'll tell you they're all impact windows, but they may not be low E or insulated, which just means your energy bill is going to be really crazy high, or you'll have faded furniture or anything like that. So those are all conversations. Our process is so communication driven that we don't leave any stone unturned. We talk about everything.
And I think it's really interesting, and you guys have to give yourself a lot of credit for where you came from and where you are now. You don't start off as, a luxury builder.
Yeah.
You don't. And you get to put your own spin on things and develop your plans to suit what you're seeing. You and Brian had forecasted what the yacht club was going to be.
Right.
And so you jumped on that. And then we keep saying yacht club because that's their general vicinity of where the Showcase of Home is, their office is in that area. But that area in particular has a lot of your homes in there.
Yeah.
So you were able to forecast what's coming down the pipeline.
We saw the vision,
Right.
And in so much of our areas, and I hate to keep bringing up the storm, but
we did a whole podcast about it because
it's real.
Something that happens
here.
It
happened. It's part of our history. But if anything, we learn from our history. Yeah. And the storm actually created a whole resurgence in our area. The yacht club was already in a regentrification stage anyway. but this sped it up.
Yep.
Right.
It expedited everything.
We were already had the vision for the yacht club already happening, so we had a very large presence there. And I saw what happened post-storm, and it's actually pretty crazy what's happening in Cape Coral just from a general real estate aspect. It's pretty massive, and Cape Coral is kind of still that hidden little secret that's starting to get out more and more and more. Because when I look at this from what people are spending to build, because that's something that's not recordable. Like, we don't record our build contracts.
Right.
So nobody knows what people are spending to build these houses. So the value of what's actually being spent in Cape Coral that nobody can research and nobody can find is pretty extraordinary. We've got homes that just the cost to build the house are in excess of $5 million. And they're on land that is $2 and $3 million. So we've got $8-9 million homes in Cape Coral, but you're not seeing it on the market because we're being built for them to live in.
Correct.
Right? So we've got pressures from the market from Naples coming up and from Tampa and Sarasota coming down. We're in such a great market area for building. And today, more than any time that I've seen in my 20-year history in this market, we actually have places to build them on because the sad portion of the storm has created opportunity for build sites that we didn't have before. So it's such a great time to go, number one, go out and get ideas, go interview your builders if you're thinking about it. This is a great time to go see their product.
Yes.
Because a lot of custom builders don't have a model center. It's not like we have 5 houses that you can go choose from. It's whatever you want to do. So this is a great opportunity to come see some of our finished products.
I don't know a lot of builders with model homes anymore. And if they do have a model home, it's very dated.
Yes.
And so you get
Very
a bad
much so.
depiction of what they can build. Versus like years ago, Chiquita used to be Chiquita model row. You used to drive down Chiquita and you're like, okay, so that's that build. And you'll notice now they've all turned into businesses or something like that. But it doesn't behoove them to have a model home. And also that's an added cost being put on top of the build because you have to pay for that. You have to support it. You have to, employ
Somebody's paying
it.
that.
Yeah, somebody's paying it somewhere, right? And, you guys did away with the model back, what year did you sell it? 18?
Ooh, well, we did have a model for a long time on
Malconnie.
The Windjammer we had that from 2014 to 2018. And then we built another one, but
it sold right away.
We sold it before we actually moved into it. So we did a 6-month lease back on that. So we only had it for a short period of time. And it's actually been a very, very popular floor plan. I actually built one for myself.
Yep.
And it's interesting because everybody has their own take on it, every little variation of it. So one of the things that I really like to show people is we've got, we have floor plans that we've built that we can take them and modify so we can speed up the process.
Well, to give people ideas, right? Because nobody knows what they're like. I don't know how to show me what you got. And you can definitely do that. You have a plethora of floor plans that you can whip out and say, okay, here we can do all these. But really, like, it's going to take you, telling me how you want to live.
And I can then pluck that out of our inventory of what we've done to see if it's a good starting point for us or if we're starting from scratch. One of the great things, and you kind of touched on it there, Kim, is Brian's been building for so long. He has over 4,000 houses under his belt that he's built in Southwest Florida. So that's pretty impressive. That's a big arsenal of floor plans that we've created over the years. That we can tap into to say, what you're telling me kind of makes sense. Exists somewhere of something that we've done. It may not be perfect, so let's pull it out and take a look at it. And what if we moved this wall and changed this, and let's blow this whole wall out and make this a bigger open space, and really designing the house how you live. And I think one of the other unique things that we really focus in on is the outdoor living areas.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So, that's why people move here.
Right.
Where the outdoor living becomes the inside.
Yeah. One of our taglines, blurring the lines between indoor and outdoor living. I would be probably yelled at a little bit for not throwing in that little tagline. But
That's what I'm here for.
I think it's all about imagination, creativity, and creating the space for the homeowner. That's what's most important. Right?
Well, and I was going to say, like, your house, your personal house, there was another one that was, the same model on paper, but it looked nothing like
it.
your house.
Yes.
Completely different.
Like, even from the outside.
Yeah.
If I didn't know that it was the same floor plan, I wouldn't.
It was 11 square feet different
Right.
overall.
It's crazy.
Minor subtle differences, and a lot of that difference was because the lot sizes were different. We were able to do a little bit more on the other one.
But it was your personal living and your personal
Yeah.
touches from the inside that changed
Everything. The whole look, the whole feel, the whole style, everything. We actually had 3 of them that were identical floor plans within a few square feet of each other, and every one of the houses were unique and different. And we tell this to all of our clients all the time. The elevation of your house, the front of your home is smoke and mirrors. We can make it look like whatever you want. So whatever genre, whatever you're looking at, whether it's contemporary, Polynesian, modern, like coastal California, like it doesn't matter. We can create that. What matters is the livability and the lifestyle of how the home feels and lives on the inside. That's what's important to us.
I think also what's important is your relationship that you have with the builder, right? Yeah. Like you're going to be married to these people for probably 2 years from start to beginning when you start talking to them. But not even just a couple years. Then you make these clients basically your family, right? So, but when they come to you, they have to feel that warm and fuzzy feeling. And they're not all the time are you going to jive with other clients, and they're going to go off to another builder, and hopefully they have a great experience. Maybe they learn something from you.
We want everybody to have a wonderful experience, regardless who they build
But you need to have that working relationship with your builder that you feel comfortable saying, like, I don't like that, or hey, why is this? And without them snapping back at you and saying, well, that's just how it is. Like that wouldn't be how you operate.
No.
You're very communicative.
We look at our world as, let's use an analogy of a football team, and I will not say the Patriots and I will not say the Dolphins, whichever team you prefer.
Definitely the Patriots.
Yeah, Patriots.
No, we'll fight about that one.
Let's take it outside. I just kicked you by accident.
I know you did. I'm going to assume that was by accident.
Yeah, it's by accident.
It wasn't.
But we look at it as the homeowners, the people that are building, they're the owners of the team. We are the general managers. Your builder is your general manager, and all of our team internally are all of your coaches, right? So when you look at this and you've got Brian, your builder, and he's the general manager, and you've got myself in plan development and sales and marketing and that whole level.
And 100 other titles.
A few other hats. Yeah. And then you've got our project managers and then our construction managers. They're your coaches. We're out there. They're the ones that are in the field looking, checking, verifying budgets, making sure that we're hitting our targets from a date perspective, communicating with you in the field and hey, this came in. I know you said you wanted this. Let's talk about this, because in the reality, this is what I think this is going to look like. Let's brainstorm this idea and make sure that this is actually going to be the end product that you want, right? It's our job as the GMs, coaches, to make sure the guys in the field, whether it's your plumbers or your drywallers or your stucco guys, are doing what the plan's saying or doing what you are requesting. And look, there's always going to be problems. There's always going to be something that pops up. There's going to be something that's unexpected. The team that you choose, when you pick your team, it's about how they handle those challenges and how we communicate and how we overcome it together, because ultimately we're a team together. The biggest compliment that we can get as a builder is the thank yous and the hugs at the end. We always say we want to be invited to the first pool party, because we truly believe that. We want to be a part of that. When we're handing the homeowners their keys to their brand new home, we want the hugs. We want to say that we want people saying this was an enjoyable experience. And actually tonight we have a client that finished their house with us about 8 or 9 months ago. They're throwing a party for us. So we have a dinner party that they're catering in and making and bringing a little bit of their home. Yeah, exactly, right. They're bringing in like Wisconsin bratwursts and beer from Wisconsin. She's got like it's actually really, really cute. And knowing that we've got new team members from when they built, they wanted the entire team because they want to meet the new people and stay in touch with the existing people that they knew during the build. So it's a really cool
You guys
thing.
are not transactional.
No.
And anybody that's in it for the transaction, they will quickly be gone and removed from
We've
this
seen it
industry.
over and over.
Yeah, it's just, it's to some people that just see dollar signs, and that's not
Yeah.
what any of us are about.
No,
I think
this
it
is about
mirrors-
relationships.
For
I
sure.
think it mirrors real estate
Yep.
really well. And Jen has that background. I mean,
Jen's background is
let me go to Jen's background,
Oh,
okay?
no.
so vast, and from one extreme
Yeah.
to the other.
Yeah.
But I think that helped define
Yeah,
who you are.
both a blessing and a curse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
It is. When I met Jen, like I will say this forever. When I met Jen, I wanted to be Jen. I loved how she ran her team. I was brand new in real estate. I was at another brokerage, and I was like, I did one transaction with you, and I was like, oh, I like how this girl operates. Let me say, she was a complete bitch sometimes, but she got her point across. And
I was very demanding back
and
then.
during that time, it was a time of foreclosures
Yeah.
and short sales, and you couldn't dilly dally, and it was cut into the
Yep.
point, and it was, hey, here's my systems.
Here's the
And I
process.
literally took
Yeah.
her systems, and I was like, these are my systems. She doesn't know, but I'm taking these, and these are mine.
I think one of our spreadsheets is
one of our
actually hers.
spreadsheets
It
are
is.
yes.
Thanks, Jen.
But
No problem.
But that's
Happy to help.
You look for people that are better than you to continue to elevate
sure.
yourself,
course.
right? So then Jen transformed herself into this mega builder, because I call you a builder because you literally are the you have so many ideas and you're hands on with everything. So you have the real estate background, and you know what to look for in these lots, and you know what to look for in the builds as well. So it's like you get best of both worlds here.
Yeah, and whether I'm consulting on it or I'm actually part of it,
Right.
it doesn't matter to me because it's as you said before, it's not transactional
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
This is lifelong relationships that we're building, and we're not out there to get every build, but we're out there to make the one that we're building for that person very special.
And what's ironic for me is I met you inside the old Cape Coral Yacht Club before it was torn down. That's the first time I met you. And here's the ironic part. You are literally redefining the yacht club one home at a time.
That's crazy. You're right. Mm-hmm. That's dating back to
2005. Yeah. I'm like an elephant. I just got a memory for
I
those
remember.
things. Yeah. So
actually one of the most amazing things. After that, you invited me to Thanksgiving
yes.
at your personal home. It was
I
my
did.
first year here.
Aw. Where was my invite?
You were still in Boston.
No, I wasn't.
Well, you were in Western Mass. Or,
No, I was here.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know you.
You weren't in. You
No,
weren't, you
no,
weren't
I
part
didn't
of
get
us
into
yet.
real estate until 2011.
I think more than anything, we always appreciate the opportunity to talk to anybody that's interested in building. And even if it's not with us or anything else, we just want to be that resource for everybody. And knowing that we really care. And we're passionate beyond passionate about what we do, from the top of the food chain, if you will, from Brian all the way down to, whatever admin assistants. We all care tremendously about what we do. And I think it bleeds through to the transaction that the client has and the experience that they have. With the showcase of homes starting this weekend, which is great timing for all of this. It's a great time to meet us. And even if you just want to come say hi, and I love what you guys do, we love hearing that. We want to hear what you guys love. We love getting feedback from potential clients, people that are just in the market for looking for design ideas, whatever that case is. We'll still spend the time to talk to you about, hey, how did we do this wall? Or what was our thought process behind something? Because if we can help improve your home and make that little bit of difference, then maybe one day, if you know somebody that wants to build, maybe we're the right ones for them.
Or maybe their
It's a win
next
for
build
everybody.
is going to be with
Yes,
you.
Yeah, for sure.
absolutely. This is all about creating,
Relationships.
relationships and creating fans and being an advocate for our clients.
But you're also helping the community, right? Like you have to
Right.
think about it. You're community involved. Like you've done
Yes.
stuff with the community. You've,
Yep.
that. But like you're helping that community revitalize itself.
for sure.
And bringing more. When you bring me more resources,
Yeah, like as we're very blessed and fortunate to be building the properties and homes that we're building that are, like I mentioned before, $5 and $6 million houses. All that's doing is increasing the tax base to the city of Cape Coral, right?
Which then brings additional services
Yes. Yeah.
for the residents. That just because you're not building that type of home doesn't mean you don't get to benefit because of those homes are
Exactly.
being built.
Well, and if your home is in that neighborhood,
You're
right,
definitely benefiting.
You're benefiting because
sure.
the values are going up, right? Like we're increasing the value of the overall
Right,
neighborhood,
right.
not just that home.
Correct. It gives you more police officers on the street, more firefighters, more EMS.
Exactly.
Like it gives you additional things that we take for granted.
And look, we're not just the $5 and $6 million builder.
Correct.
Right. And I didn't really touch on that. You know, for the most part, our homes are starting at about $1.5 million and up from there. So we're not necessarily geared towards everybody in the market, but we can touch on a good portion of the clientele based off of what we have to offer.
Which I'm chuckling over here
Could you
because
imagine?
$1.5 million, right? Like Kim and I were literally just talking about this years ago. If you had $1 million listing, you're like, oh my god, like look at this one.
I remember my first one.
Yeah,
Don't forget the foreclosure days, people. Like I sold a house for $11,000 back in the day.
My first sale was $12,000.
Yeah,
house.
A home.
Yep.
Mine was a homeless guy that I sold it to.
No, mine was a trailer.
He was living in a car in a church parking lot. And I called the bank and said, look, man, we have to work with this poor guy. And $11,000, like
That's
old
amazing.
cinder block house in Lehigh.
That's amazing.
Mine in North Fort Myers, it was like a raised manufactured home.
Yeah, there you go.
Short sale.
Like we all start from somewhere, right?
And that's
From the
the
bottom.
thing.
That when I look at that whole, like I always reference that $11,000 sale because it tells me where I came from and where that gentleman who had lost so much during his lifetime was. It was the sounding block for him rebuilding his life, right? And I never
over his head.
forget that's where we came from, and that's what we're trying to do. At whether it's this amount of money or this amount of money, I treat everybody like they all deserve that level of respect and care for what we do.
So if you're out and about in Cape Coral, starting this weekend, the 17th, 18th, and 19th, and then next weekend, the 24th, 25th, 26th, and then the 31st, 1st, and 2nd, feel free to stop into any of the homes that Jen and her team will be at. Ask them questions, pop in, say hi, tell them you saw them here. Get to know them. Thanks for tuning in. This is Unscripted. We're out.